Welcome to the GTN show, brought to you by Amp Human. Now, it is only the start of the year, but we've already spotted the chance to tick off one of our predictions. And this news in itself could actually spark a ban within the running industry.
Yes, and then bringing things back to all things tri-related, we've also got news of the very anticipated arrival of triathlon's equivalent to the Ryder Cup. Plus, the news a former Tour de France champion might decide to do an Ironman in his home country in the not too distant future. And of course, we'll have all of our favourites too.
I expect you noticed that we had a new logo at the start of the show. Well, that is because we have a new partner for our weekly show for this year. I'm delighted to say that we're working with Amp Human.
Yeah, and this is essentially sodium bicarbonate that has been packed into a topical lotion. Now, if I'm honest, sodium bicarbonate was not something that I ever used when I was training or racing, but I did speak to quite a few other athletes who did dabble in it, and the one thing that I do remember picking up was that by using sodium bicarbonate, you could get some tummy distress, and that it would be all because you were taking it on orally.
Yeah, so the squad that I actually trained with used it quite a lot, and I know Mark did as well, and it does buffer that lactic acid, but you've kind of got to play with that risk of upsetting your stomach, whereas the guys at Amp Human have actually found a way to get the bicarb into a fatty substance that your skin can then actually absorb, so in a sense you can get the same benefits without having to risk the stomach problems.
Yeah, and if that means that you're able to recover a bit quicker because you're not as sore, then that's pretty impressive, and I'm definitely intrigued to give this a go for any upcoming races that we might be getting ourselves involved with, and certainly for training day to day. So being looking forward to letting you guys know exactly how we find this, and of course being able to get you guys involved in trying some as well. So we are increasingly seeing a trend where elite world-class runners are quite literally racing in shoes that are giving them a spring to their step, and Nike have very much been at the forefront of this trend in recent times. They started this trend with the Vaporfly 4%, and then we saw their next percent shoe coming not too far after that, but most recently we saw Eliud Kipchoge breaking that sub 2 hour barrier in Vienna using the latest prototype that Nike have created, and that is called their Alphafly, which does seem to even now be trickling into their other elite athletes.
Yeah, however, some eagle-eyed viewers of the Houston Marathon spotted a different prototype from a major brand rival, Adidas. Now, we don't know much more about it because it was just some blurry images and it is a prototype, but it's about time we saw something come out from that major German player.
Yeah, and the concept of carbon-plated shoes hasn't necessarily been a new development. In fact, over recent months and even longer, we've seen releases from pretty much every one of the major shoe companies now getting in on this act. And even in our own sport, we've definitely seen quite an influx of this, with the likes of Nike and all their various models being very widely available. We've also seen a lot of the Hoka models too, and this was really noted at the Kona count just last year because there was a load of those shoes available. And it was quite widely noted that the men's winner, Jan Frodeno, had a sort of prototype from his shoe company, ASICS.
Yeah, well, it's been surprising really that Adidas have taken so long to come up with this rival to Nike, and it's exciting, and now the shoe industry really is starting to explode, and whether we're going to see all the shoes that are on the market with a carbon plate.
Yeah, I suppose it just started to get us think. I mean, should the IAA really now be starting to step in and go, wait a minute, I think we need to stop this tipping point and the ball rolling too far and stop the improvements in technology? I mean, is this something that is really impacting world records and PBs across the board, that if you aren't getting a set of one of these shoes to run in, there's no point in even taking part?
Yeah, it's pretty tough if you're sponsored by a shoe company that don't have it. I mean, I don't know where that leads you, but there have been some rumours that these shoes are starting to get scrutinised, and there's even rumours that a panel have been set up to have a look at this. So maybe something's going on behind the scenes, we don't know, because it could be labelled as mechanical doping, and maybe this shouldn't be allowed. We're going to have to find out, I think.
And one final note, we do remember the Beijing Olympics about the laser suits in swimming, don't we? I mean, how many world records got broken with those?
I didn't break a world record, but I wore one.
Well, yeah, exactly, and I bet you were delighted to use it at the time.
I've got a PB, so yeah, it all counts. But anyway, that leads us on to this week's poll. We want to know if you guys think that these shoes should be banned, if they do actually count as mechanical doping. So our question is, should carbon-plated shoes be banned by the IAAF? Simple yes or no, and you can vote on that by just clicking up here on the poll.
Yeah, and that takes us on to the results from last week's poll, when we asked you, will Alistair Brownlee be able to qualify for the Tokyo Olympic Games? And well, our results are pretty unanimous. You guys have got a lot of faith. You think yes, 93% of you have said that he will qualify for the Great Britain team. So moving on to Tri News now, and our first topic is the PTO, which is the Professional Triathletes Organisation. Now, we have been hearing from them for quite some time that they would be bringing us a Ryder Cup style competition to the sport of triathlon that they're going to call the Collins Cup. Well, this was supposed to happen in 2018, and then they moved it forward to 2019, and then it was postponed yet again, but we can finally announce that they are going to be giving this event a scheduled date of 29th to 30th of May, and that is going to be at the X-Bionic Sphere in Slovakia, which is where we are familiar with having seen the Challenge Championship happening for a number of years now.
Yeah, now they've been pretty busy because they've managed to find a prize purse of $2 million, so it's going to attract the top international athletes. And there's going to be 3 teams, which will consist of one from Europe, one from USA, and then the rest of the world, which they're actually labelling as international. And each team is made up of 12 pros, so 6 men, 6 women, 8 of which will be automatically sort of selected from the PTO's own world ranking, and then those other 4, so 2 men, 2 women, will then be selected.
Yeah, and then the race format is again following that sort of Ryder Cup match play type situation where you've got one athlete from each of those teams, America versus Europe versus international, each being a match setup, and the team captains that will be for each of these teams will be able to select on a rotating basis the first pick, which will set up each match. So for example, America might get the first pick, and then Europe might get the picks first for the second match, and so on and so on, and that dictates how the other captains sort of decide to tactically match up the athletes against each other. Each match is going to go in 10-minute staggered intervals, and this is going to be over a half Ironman distance. Now, the captains are going to be able to communicate directly with the athletes who are on the race course. They're going to be able to interact with metrics like their heart rate and their power and their pace, apparently, and this is all going to be accessible by the live audience that are watching as well in real time. So I guess this is a completely new experience for us as viewing triathletes.
Yeah, I think age group as well. I would definitely love that. It gives you a bit of an insight because you often, some pros can be a bit cagey with their numbers, and we'll get to see them. So that's pretty cool. And I mean, it's a shame it's taken this long to actually come to fruition, but well done to the PTO for sticking to their commitment that they made. They said they were going to make it happen, and not only that, they found a significant financial backer too.
Yeah, and it is really all in the name of them sticking to what they said they would provide, which is a brand new platform for athletes to race in, and of course for an audience to be able to watch as well. So looking forward to seeing this finally kicking off this summer, and hats off to the PTO.
2 AA batteries wouldn't be enough to power any of us to a triathlon, but if we were 17 centimetres tall and made of plastic, then we might have a chance. I haven't gone entirely mad. It's Panasonic who've actually come out with a robot called Mr. Evolta Neo, who's made of plastic, and he's going to actually take on the Tokyo Olympic Triathlon course this summer. Although he's cheating a little bit because there are 3 of him. So there's one specifically for the swim, then the bike and the run. On top of that, he's only doing 10% of the course, but apparently it's because he's 10% of the size of the average human. So we'll let him off.
I'm glad that clears that up because I was starting to get a little bit threatened about Mr. Neo there. So good work from him. Now, moving on slightly, we all got a little bit excited when we heard that former Tour de France champion might be giving triathlon a go. Well, there is some truth to the matter, but let us explain. It is Geraint Thomas who has alluded to the fact that he's more than happy to be a professional cyclist for at least another 4 years or so as he is going. But he is in California at the moment, as we mentioned in last week's show. He's training with Cameron Worth, and he did an interview with Bob Babbitt, and he explained that after he's finished racing his bike, he is very happy to give Ironman a go and have another goal down the line, and where better to start than his home Ironman in Tempe. And I can only agree with him because it is definitely a cracker of a race.
Yeah, he said that it was one that's obvious not only for being at home but also being a really tough bike course, so it give him more of an advantage. I mean, you've ridden it.
Yeah, he's going to have a cracking race there, but obviously a few more years of doing laps of France in the summer before then. So now some news from Zwift, and there is now an even easier way to use the Zwift app running feature, because up until now you definitely had to use a foot pod or you needed to be lucky enough to use a smart treadmill. Well, there's now a new tracker device in conjunction with an app that allows you to not have to worry about those things. It's a device that just sits on the treadmill and it can measure the speed of the belt that's running underneath it. So that obviously eliminates that need for the foot pod and essentially creates your standard treadmill into an all singing, all dancing smart treadmill. And this can also measure your cadence, and it also can track the incline of the treadmill too. So now you're going to have all of those features that you could have had from a smart treadmill.
Yeah, pretty cool. Well, sticking with Zwift, last week I did promise to give you a more thorough update on what happens next with the Zwift Triathlon Academy. And we've obviously all had that deadline, if you were doing it like me, to complete the 6 bike workouts, the 4 run workouts and the 2 races. So hard work done for us. It's now Zwift who've got to do a lot of hard work because they have a huge amount of data to sift through. And they're going to contact those that actually catch their eye and look out for some swim data, because obviously that's not been included, and also race performance. And then I think get to know a few characters a little bit more to see if they'd work in the team. Then they're going to bring it down to a long list of 50. Of those 50, I think the people will be asked to do a sort of a video kind of piece about themselves, and then followed up for further interview. And then they hope to reduce that down to 10 to 12 for some further interviews, so that they can select the 6 best amateur athletes that they feel will actually represent the Triathlon Academy. So we should see these individuals announced in just over a month's time. And then later on in the spring, hopefully we'll get to see them out in action at the Zwift HQ, where they go on their training camp, when they get all things, the wind tunnel testing and all expert coaching and equipment and everything. So hopefully GTN will get to go along to that, and we'll be able to share it with you.
Right, so now it's that time where we have a look at those pictures that you very kindly send in. And on that note, please do keep sending us in pictures of your pain cave if you've got any, because we do love to get them, and it's always really interesting to see all the setups that you guys have at home. So first up, we've got Drew, and he is very lucky to be in Denver, Colorado. So his pain cave is one that he said I built in November before the winter completely took over here in Denver. And I'm very happy I did, because it's great for strength sessions and yoga and the like. Now he's got his Canyon Speedmax, he said, but that's not a Speedmax there, it's a Canyon Endurance. I think it's his road bike, so I should really have checked that before I read it.
Fine. He probably has a Speedmax hidden around the corner.
Well, I think
but it says also a space for gym and yoga, so great to see you're taking your conditioning work seriously too.
Yeah, and he's got a very cool poster up there of the LA Olympic Games, which I think is really cool, whether he was there or whether that means something to him, but yeah.
And in the other picture he sent in, there's a little person.
Yeah, I know, the little person did make me smile. Yeah.
Very sweet.
Yeah.
Our other picture we're using today is from Callum, and it's a What Bike Atom. Oh, did you put this one in, Fraser?
Yeah, well, there's a little bit of a Scottish link, because he's from a boy in Aberdeenshire. Yeah, thanks, Cal. But he's got quite an ingenious little setup there. He says, I'm just using an old iPhone to have my Zwift set up, and then I've got my own phone for watching GTN and the likes as well.
Ingenious.
So, yeah, good work. We love getting pictures in from you guys that shows a whole array of everything that you're getting up to in your triathlon life, whether that be your pain caves, whether that be you racing, all sorts of stuff, right?
Yeah, we're pretty nosy, so do share those, and you never know, you might see them get shared on our show, on Instagram, Facebook, on any of our social channels.
Yeah, and you can upload those onto the link that is down there below. Right, so now it's time for our caption competition, and the picture from last week, as we alluded to, was somebody with a little bit of a death stare as they're staring down the beach towards the water with an imminent race start going. So we had a few interesting caption entrants, didn't we?
We did, yes. One from Phil Patterson here. That moment when they announced the water temperature. That's me, because I'm the biggest wuss in anything cold.
I know that feeling. And then our runner-up comes from Jaap Koitsers, who says, luckily Loch Leg Monsters wasn't spotted in these waters.
Now, to get that, you have to have watched seen last week's caption and heard Fraser talk about the Loch Ness Monster. But anyway, it was a close win, but I didn't think enough of you would get it. So our winner is Luke Alexander with the caption, no one can tell I'm peeing in my wetsuit. Oh no, wait, I'm not in the water yet.
Yeah, which is quite good. So on that note, we're going to be getting you a cap. So get in touch and let us know all your details so that we can get one of those sent off to you.
Yeah, and this week's caption picture comes from Ironman, Arizona. And, well, I think this guy is going for the all-important power-up.
It's very cute, isn't it? It's whether it's his son, maybe, I don't know, or just a little kid. Yeah, I mean, it's a really cool
Have you ever got a power-up in a race before, Fraser?
I think I have. I hope so.
Were you always too focused?
No, I would always try and I'm just always try and high-five the kids. Yeah. I'm not sure whether I remember kids having a little power-up.
I mean, having raced as an age grouper, you do definitely get some great signs on the side of the road, which give you quite a lot of energy. And the power-ups, I kind of feel I have to, I get a bit superstitious, and if I pass it, then I'll run out of power. I mean, that's ridiculous. But anyway, sorry, digress. Do let us know your caption suggestions in the comments section below. Well, that might be a wrap for this week's show, but there is still plenty more coming up on GTN. We've got a video on the best speed running workout.
Yeah, and how to buy your first entry-level tri-bike.
We've got one on how to deal with a stitch. Basically, loads going on. So hopefully you have enjoyed this week's show. Give us a thumbs up, like, and to get all of those videos, just hit the subscribe button and you'll get them in your inbox.
Yeah, and if you want to see some videos that have already been going on the channel, we have made one about how quickly do I lose fitness, and you can find that here.
It wasn't you personally, was it?
Well, maybe, sort of.
And we've got another video on treadmill mistakes that you might be making. Check it out, it's just here.